Ready, Shada? Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Public Safety Headquarters and for always taking important messages back to the community here in Atlanta and across the region. I'm joined today by our District Attorney as well as the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, strong partners in our fight against crime here in the city of Atlanta. And we're here to give you an update on Operation Heatwave, which was a key component of our crime fighting initiative over the summer. As we start at the fall phase, we're ready for the Labor Day weekend. We are seeing a reduction in homicides in our city, a reduction in aggravated assaults, as well as a reduction in shootings. That is not by accident. That is a partnership that spans our federal, state, and local partners, and that is a focus on the areas that we know that we can influence. Operation Heatwave is an intelligence-driven initiative. Our mayor, Mayor Dickens, when he came to office, gave a charge of this department to be aggressive about fighting crime and be smart about fighting crime. And when the mayor says that, he means it because he is a graduate of Georgia Tech, no offense, Attorney General Carr, and he brings that mindset every day when we brief the mayor on how effective are we fighting crime in the city, that we're using data and we're using intelligence to go after the people, and we go after the places that we know are driving crime here in Atlanta. Operation Heatwave is successful because we do take intelligence and says what individuals do we go after that are likely to commit a violent crime in our city, and what areas of the city are prone to violence. And we have incredible men and women, both our sworn and our professional staff, that work through this detail to be able to put us in the right areas. But we're also joined by our partners. The Fulton County District Attorney, Fonnie Willis, the Attorney General of Georgia, Chris Carr, our Sheriff of Fulton County, Sheriff Labatt, the Georgia State Patrol, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the United States Department of Homeland Security, and the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is with us. They are key partners whose patches you see on this board that are with us every time we go out fighting crime in the city. We often hear that Atlanta is the best place to host a grand sporting event because the federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies talk to each other and they collaborate. But that's not just bringing a sporting event to our city, ladies and gentlemen. That is how we bring about a safe Atlanta and a safe Fulton County. We work together, making sure that regardless of the agency we belong to, that we remember what our oath is, protecting the citizens of this county. And I want to commend, while I'm here today with members of the leadership of these organizations, there are men and women of the Atlanta Police Department who wear this uniform that are fighting crime each and every day in our city, across all 245 of our neighborhoods. And I always want to commend the men and women that are doing the dangerous, the difficult, and acts of compassion and courage on behalf of every resident of Atlanta. It is my honor to introduce our district attorney at this time, who has been key as we go after the gangs, guns, and drugs that drive violent crime. We cannot do anything about the argument that started over mayonnaise on a sandwich. And we cannot do anything that started about an argument over a parking space. We need others to help us in that area. But if you are operating a gang operation in this city, if you are running guns in this city, if you are dealing drugs in this city, you will meet the Atlanta Police Department and you will meet us with our partners. And so it's my honor to introduce a key partner in that fight, our district attorney.
Good evening. I am, like Chief Shearbaum, first of all, just honored to be here with the Atlanta Police Department and our local partners, the FBI, our federal partners, the Attorney General, and all of our state partners. Operation Heatwave 2023 has been a success, and we're very, very proud to have been invited to be a part of it. Those operations to date have resulted in 39 known gang members being arrested, and that's very important. When I ran for the district attorney, I told the voters of Fulton County that we had a gang problem, and now it seems like everyone knows that, but back then people were saying, this isn't New York, this isn't LA, what are you talking about? And it took us getting a leader like Mayor Dickens to recognize that there was a gang problem. One of the things people know that I supported him was when he was just a candidate, he came to my office and asked me, what are the key problems with crime in this city? And I talked to him about gangs. And when it was time for him to select a chief of police, he got it absolutely right. In Chief Shearbaum is the solution to our gang problem, and I am so proud every day to work with him. When he took office, meaning Chief Shearbaum, we sat down and we had a conversation about what do we need so that we can partner with you and we can do this job better. And what I told him we needed was, we needed gang warrants. We needed police to do smart policing when it came to gang crime, and we needed to attack it head on and be unapologetic about it. And that's the partner I got in him. We immediately went to training officers and to working with him to make sure we conquered this problem. And I can tell you, to date, this year, we're up 370% in gang warrants. That is the work of the men and women who wear that uniform, and it's the work that's keeping us safer. To date, we have over 100 gang convictions. That's from January the 1st of this year through August the 31st. And when I say convictions, I mean either by plea or by trial. Those are 100 cases where gang members are off of our streets. Year to date, he told you, but I like to talk in numbers. Atlanta homicides are down by 29%. That's not just a number. That's a lot of people that get to have Thanksgiving dinner this year with their family. A lot of fathers that get to raise their children and make the society better. And it is a huge accomplishment, and we owe gratitude to the Atlanta Police Department and these partners for doing this work. We also know that all crime in the city and in Fulton County is down 21%. These are initiatives that have saved real lives. And we are not fooled. We don't think that the work is over. But we know that this partnership and programs such as Atlanta Heatwave are making a real difference. And so I'm just here honored to be standing next to our chief on the amazing work that the police department has done, and letting him know that we've been here, I think, for 7 or 8 times at this point, and we're going to be here until the very end to do smart initiatives to make our community safer. And I'm introducing the Attorney General Carr.
Thank you, Madam DA. I appreciate it. Well, good evening, everybody. It is, as the DA said, it's an honor to be standing here today. It's an honor to be with the Atlanta Police Department. And I want to commend the chief. I want to commend the mayor for tackling this issue, for the success of Operation Heatwave. We know that when we go after those that are committing crimes, when we enforce the law, crime rates go down. You've heard the numbers that the DA mentioned. You've heard the numbers that the chief mentioned as well. It's a proven model, and it is being proven yet again here in Atlanta. We know that 60 to 90% of all violent crime is gang affiliated. And it doesn't matter, the Georgia Constitution says it's the paramount duty of government to protect person and property. So it does not matter your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, where you live or where you are from, you deserve to be safe. And this operation is proving it. You know, criminals don't care, really not paying attention to what the city or the county line, where they are located. But what's happening is when you have an operation like this, when you're taking care of the issues here in Atlanta, as the police department is doing, as these partners are doing, and you have to have federal, state, and local buy-in, you are seeing the success that you can have. And I am so proud that our office can work to prosecute those that are gang members, that are committing violent crimes, working with the DA, working with our federal partners. But again, it starts with the leadership of the Atlanta Police Department and the mayor, and I commend them for what they're doing, and honored to be here as well.
Good evening, Deputy Chief Charles Hampton, Jr. When Chief Shearbaum became chief, he made it very easy for us as a department to know what we need to go after: gangs, guns, and drugs. We're here to talk about Operation Heatwave, but we have been fighting this fight ever since the beginning of the year. We were told to be smart about it, so how do we do that? We use technology, we use intel analysts who we have hired. We continue to expand that program, who help our investigators in the background to fight crime. Gangs. Madam DA talked about the charges. Thus far, year to date, we have levied the gang charge 426 times this year. Guns. 1,529 seizures by the entire Atlanta Police Department. And drugs. Our narcotics unit, every 4 days, we are dismantling some type of drug operations inside the city of Atlanta. So that is what you get when you have someone who is focused in the leader, Chief Shearbaum, to get this department focused on 3 areas. And then I would turn it over to Captain Wolfel, who will talk about the successes of this 16 weeks, 7 operations under Operation Heatwave.
Thank you, Chief, and I'll make this brief as we're moving into our 7th operation of the 15 weeks in which we've deployed this summer, and we'll be stepping over here momentarily to provide some awards and accolades to some of our greatest crime fighters here in the city of Atlanta. But as Chief indicated, the mayor and the chief have provided an infrastructure for us to be successful around gangs, guns, and drugs. They have architected, engineered a system that works. We look at intelligence-led data, particularly weapon offenses that happen within 400-meter radiuses in our city that we know gangs occupy and ultimately call their strongholds. We will deploy to 4 of those radiuses tonight with tools and resources that we have been provided to combat criminal street gang activity. And then we also look at individuals specifically that we know have a proclivity to violence. And that has been a task that this mayor and this chief has put us up to, specific individuals that we know are driving crime. This is not conduct 20 traffic stops, quantity type of approach. This is specific persons that we know are driving violent crime. We're going specifically after individuals that we know are driving violent crime in our city. And that is why at the onset of the summer, we began meeting back in April with our federal partner, with the federal partners with the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. We studied some NIBIN data that they had assembled for us, and we also looked at our weapon offense data. We placed those together as we came together to deploy tools and resources within those specific radiuses. So I'm going to walk us through this evening in reference to some of the individuals that we've come across throughout Operation Heatwave. Willie Dennis of the PFK gang. This individual was responsible for killing Breonna Powell at a party at Benjamin E. Mays High School in a parking lot. This is an individual that we knew to be associated with the Play for Keeps gang that operates primarily within the 3200 block of MLK, as well as the Fairburn corridor. And this is an individual that went on one of our 39 target lists at the onset of the summer. We were able to apprehend this individual on June 22nd, and we have conducted some subsequent investigation, not only into Willie Dennis, but additional link analysis as to persons associated with this criminal street gang. This next individual, Shaquille Bell, the Attorney General's office, who has partnered with us all throughout Operation Heatwave in the 15 weeks, along with the District Attorney's office. They have physically been in the vehicles with us as we have deployed out into these radius areas. This is one of the individuals that we had on our target list associated with criminal street gang activity in the 1600 block of Lakewood. Shaquille Bell, back in 2021, was associated with a heroin operation, a trafficking heroin operation, in which he was arrested and placed in jail in DeKalb County, and he made bond as a result of that, and he has been on our target list as a result of violent crime that has been impacting that Lakewood community since that time. So we partner closely with the Attorney General's office on this. Actually, Tuesday before last, in Operation Heatwave operation, they were with us as we continued to gather intelligence pertaining to this particular gang set. They have assembled and actually indicted this gang, I believe, on today. They added a 54 count indictment pertaining to these individuals, and it is a three-part defendant indictment in which a multitude of narcotics and weapons were taken off of the street. This next individual, Takil Mitchell, many of you remember back in I believe it was May of 2023, we had a young man, 18-year-old Dominic McKibbins, that was killed. He was killed as a result of criminal street gang activity involving the 952 label gang. There were 19 individuals on that scene that night. In this department, our detectives, our officers, our crime suppression units, they work relentlessly to identify every single person in that video. Every single individual in that video that brandished a gun, that pointed a gun, that pulled a trigger, that resulted in 18-year-old Dominic McKibbin's life being taken on that night. We work relentlessly to not only identify those individuals, but apprehend all individuals that committed a crime on that scene. And as a result of those efforts, we did see a significant crime drop in the Zone 1 area. subsequent to those arrests being made. So I've provided here some pictures of some of the guns, the weapons, and narcotics that we've taken off the street. You can scroll through those for any additional B-roll or footage that you might need. And this last individual here, Fernando Crenshaw, we work closely with Madam DA's office in reference to this individual. He is a self-proclaimed YSL criminal street gang member. We made entry into a location that he resided in DeKalb County with our fugitive unit and the U.S. Marshals. We were able to apprehend him with a trafficking amount of narcotics as well as firearms that were taken off the street. And the prosecutors from the district attorney's office that were riding with us in the car every night during Operation Heatwave, they stayed and worked throughout the night, showed up at the bond hearings in the morning, and made sure that we secured no bond statuses as a result of Fernando Crenshaw's arrest. So those types of efforts and that precision policing that we have done throughout the summer across this 15 weeks has resulted in the data that you were provided today, 21% reduction in our violent crime at this time. Our homicides are down in excess now of 25%. I believe we're showing a 22% reduction in ag assaults and a 19% reduction in our robberies. So we are tremendously thankful to our partners, and we will be stepping over to brief our teams for tonight's gang operation. Thank you.
And we will take questions now.
Larry Sproul with Channel 2 Action News. My question would be for Madam Willis. You have been always tough on gangs. As it appears to be that gangs are now recruiting at a younger age. The victims and the suspects in these violent crimes are being younger. What would be your message to those who are recruiting these young gang members?
Although they'll be the people that we go after first. You're absolutely right. We're losing too many of our children to gangs, and the people sometimes that we as citizens are angry about are our own children because they are being recruited into these gangs. And so those are the people that we are going to target for recruiting our children.
Dawn Whiteoff, reporter with 11 Alive News. What part do you think that curfew has played in the reduction of these numbers, and how effective do you think it's been?
I think the curfew has been effective, but I also think programming has been effective. I think that the mayor doing the basketball league is effective. I think that the district attorney's office doing the REACH program and going into schools and trying to divert children other ways. It has to be a multi-tiered approach. It can't just be straight prosecution, and I think everyone that stands here recognizes that. We're going to be completely tough on those that terrorize our city and criminals, but we're also going to try to do things to keep children out of this lifestyle. We all know it sounds cliche at this point, but it only adds you to jail cells and caskets, and we are trying to keep our children out of cells, and we're trying to keep them out of caskets.
Madam DA, Joseph with the AJC, you guys talk about the success, and Chief as well, you guys talk about the success of this operation. You're adding close to 100 more people to the jail, a jail that just had its 5th death this month. What are you doing to help out Sheriff Labat in mitigating what's going on at the jail right now?
I'm so happy you asked me about what's going on at the jail. Since I was a candidate for district attorney, I stated that jail, we should have had a new jail 15 years ago. And we're not going to let people bury their heads in the sand and act like they didn't know we needed a new jail. And we need a new jail for 2 different reasons. The first reason we need one is Atlanta and Fulton County has become too big. It was antiquated the day they built it. That's the truth. In addition to it not being large enough, it's not in good enough repair. What do I mean by that? Locks don't work. Things do not work that the sheriff is entitled to have. And so I'm very happy that I've loudly said this, that we now have commissioners that are going to fund a new jail that we deserve, because people deserve to be housed humanely, even when they've been accused of crimes. And so I completely support that. What I am going to do is we're going to look at cases. We're processing them just as fast as we can. But we also going to deal with reality. And the reality is we need a bigger facility, and it needs to be a facility that treats people humanely.
Christopher King with Fox Country News. I want to follow up on that question. I want to ask the question of AG Carr, actually. 3 people, of course, are stabbed at the Fulton County Jail. One, of course, fatally. It's the 5th stabbing in a month. What is the state, what can the state do to step in to help resolve this crisis?
Hold on 1 second, sir. We're going to stay on topic of the heat wave situation, so we're not going to dive into the situation that happened in Fulton County.
And we got a team to brief as well. Just
So everyone's had an opportunity to ask their question.
AG, are you going to prosecute this, or is Madam DA going to prosecute this? Or?
We've been partnering on this. We've got a couple of the cases that we're working on, and we'll stay a part of this team and proud to be a part of it.
All right, thank you, everyone.